at an example of that, and then responsible for data quality, because we see that as data become dominant in the so many new responsibility and roles that are emerging. So there are specific skill set, there are specific kinds of people that are handling data quality assessment. So who is responsible for data quality? And then we'll conclude on that note. So let's start with what exactly is data quality. Now, so the quality of the data is determining how reliable and trustworthy that particular data set is. Okay, so whether we can rely on it for decision making. So that is what determines the quality. So it is a degree of trust that we can put in on the data. So it measures the condition of the data and how can we rely on it for decision making. And there are so many metrics that you can use to determine whether you can rely on the data. It indicates how good the data is and how useful it is for the task that is at hand. In fact, the truth of the matter is that in most of data analysts and data scientists and machine learning engineers work, majority of their time is spending in cleaning up data and fixing some issues, some errors that are in the data. So 70% of an average data scientist's work is not in building the model itself. It's actually in preparing the data for the machine learning model. So it is a lot of work that goes into cleaning in the data. And the moment you have garbage in, what you have out is garbage out. So you want high quality data that you can rely on, that is giving you the right information that you need, so that you can make the right decision. So that is what data quality is. So data quality is just an approach for us to really measure how good that data is. And there are so many metrics that we are going to look at. So what are the benefits that it has to organization, and why is it important? Why should every organization ensure that they set up a very good data quality measurement and assessment? Number one is that the quality of your data is going to influence the decision making that you are making. And so if you want to improve the quantity of the quality of decisions that are being made using data, then the organization must ensure that their data is of high quality. Because if you are relying on data to give you information, then the quality of data that you have will determine the quality of the decisions that you are making. So lack of good data can put the organization at a very bad risk, which is not a good thing that any business want to do. Number two thing also is that good data quality can also help you in having a good strategy for targeting your customers, especially in business. So if you want to know who are your audience, it is the data that will tell you majority of your customers, they are from this particular location, they are of this particular age, they are of this particular gender, they have this kind of qualifications. Now it is data that is telling you all of those things. So it helps you to now be able to target the right audience. So if you don't have a very good quality data, you will have the wrong assumption about who your customer is. You might think your customers are people that are less than 30 years old, whereas maybe the people that you have as your customers, they are people that are more than 50 years old. You might also think that your customers are coming from a particular geographical location, but actually the people that you have as your customer, they are from a different location. So having a good quality data is also going to help you in knowing how to target the right audience for your product and for your services. All right, it can also increase productivity. Like I said, majority of the time that people spend, especially data scientists, data analysts and whatever, most of their time they spend it in cleaning up data. In fact, 70% of data scientists' time is predicted to be spent on cleaning data and preparing the data for the machine learning model. So if you have a high quality data, then it can increase the productivity. That means most of the time they don't have to spend it in doing the cleaning work or fixing the issues that are in the data, they can actually use it in doing something else that is much more productive than fixing the issues that are in the data. And number 14 is also that it helps you to meet some compliance and regulatory requirements. Now, in some industry, like healthcare industry, banking industry, there are mandated regulatory requirements, especially with respect to the quality of the data that you should use, the standard that it must meet. So when you have high quality data, it helps you to meet those regulatory and compliance requirements. So those are 4 benefits. But if you have a poor quality data, it also has impact on your business. It has a negative impact on your business. Number 1, it will undermine the trust and confidence that people who are making decisions are going to have on your data. Now, if you are building model, if you are doing analysis on data, the goal is to give opportunity for decision maker to have something to leverage on for decision making. But now, when they cannot trust the data, then it's erode the confidence and trust that they have. They don't want to make mistakes, so they won't be able to trust it if they cannot be sure that the data is actually correct and accurate. Number 2 thing that is also a negative impact of a poor quality data is that it erodes your competitive advantage. Remember, business is a competitive world. So there are a lot of other people that are doing what you are doing. So if you want to be more competitive, then your data has to be accurate. If you have a data that is giving you the wrong information, then it means that you will be at an advantage. In fact, there are some things that might be going on, trending, that you are not aware of. And other people are already collecting those data, they are already capturing those data, and they have those information up to date. Maybe your own information is as old as 1 year ago. Your data is not up to date, but somebody else has up to date information. So you might be making decisions based on 1 year ago information, but somebody else has up to date information. That puts you at a disadvantage. So it erodes your competitive advantage if you don't have a high quality data. Number 3 thing that is also a disadvantage is you might also lose revenue. You might lose money and revenue if your data is not of high quality. Now, in most cases, actually, they discover that a lot of companies are spending a lot on because of poor data. In fact, a study by Gartner in 2021 says that bad data quality, it cost organization an average of 12.9 million per year. 12.9 million. An average organization spend about 12.9 million just fixing the issues that are with bad data. And IBM also estimate that in US economy, they spend about 3.1 trillion every year based on poor data. Now, most of these costs, they are spent on employees that are hired to clean up the data. Most of their job is to just clean up the data, clean up the data, clean up the data. So a lot of companies' revenue goes into bad data or poor quality data. Number 4 thing that is also a negative impact of poor quality data, it can also damage your organization's reputation. So when people know that your information is not accurate and correct, anything that you are giving is not correct, is not up to date, it erodes the confidence and trust and reputation that they have in your organization. So these are 4 negative impacts, and that's why having a very high quality data is very, very key. Now, what are the dimensions of data quality that every organization needs to take note of? Now, there are so many depending on the industry and sector. There are so many, but there are 6 primary or 6 core dimensions of data quality that every organization needs. And these 6 dimensions, they don't apply to every set of data. They apply to in different ways to different kinds of data, but there are 6 quality that is very desired in any data that we are using. The first one is accuracy. The first one is accuracy. So is the data very accurate? That is, does it represent the value in the real world? Does it represent the value in the real world? Does it represent the exact number in the real world? Data accuracy is very, very key. Okay, data accuracy is very, very key. So what is the exact value in the real world? Is it the same value that you capture? If it is not, then your data is not accurate. It might be a spelling, even in the name that you use, or the name of the product, or the name of the person, or the name of the address. Now, if you have a wrong information, it's not accurate. For example, if you want to send email to all your customers and you have the wrong address, it will go to the wrong place. So accuracy is one of the first metrics that is desirable in data. So data accuracy. Number two thing is completeness. Completeness. Is the data complete? Is the data complete? That is, everything that we are supposed to collect was successfully collected. So when organizations are thinking about a product or something they want to do, there are some certain information that they need to collect. Let's say, for example, I want to do training. Okay, I want to do training. When I want to do training, I need to know the student's address, maybe their physical address. I need to have their email address, and then maybe I need to have their phone number, and I need to have their names. Those informations are important for me to be able to communicate with the student. So information is not complete when I don't get those information that I need, because it means that I will not be able to communicate to them because I didn't have all the information that I require to be able to communicate with them. So information completeness is all about having all the information that you need, especially as a business. So it is complete when you have the right information that you need as a business. So customer address might be missing, maybe zip code. So maybe somebody give you their house address, but they didn't put the zip code there. Now you might not be able to send them information because that thing is missing. So completeness is a requirement in data quality analysis. Okay, the other one is consistency. Consistency. Okay, so in organizations, data can be stored in different locations. It can be stored in a database, it can be stored in the cloud, it can be stored on local computer systems. Now what you are looking for is, if it is the same data that is collected, then you want to ensure that in different places where that data is stored, the information is the same. That is what consistency is. So the information is uniform. You are not having a particular kind of information on one platform, but when you go to the second one, it's different. But yet, the information is telling you that it is about the same thing, but it's not. So that is very important. So that information consistency is very key. So meaning that the information is not having different flavor in different places, but is actually the same across the board. So it is represented consistently across different platforms. So maybe you have customer account somewhere, and that account is closed in a particular place where the customer information is stored, but in another place where the customer information is stored, the account is saying that it's open. That might be incorrect. Maybe it has not been updated on the new place. So consistency is very important. The information that you have should be consistent across all the places where you store the information. Another key factor or dimensions of data quality that is very key is timeliness. Timeliness. So the data has to be up to date. It has to be up to date. We have to have that information correct and up to date. Now, if you are not updating the information, then you might be acting based on old information. Maybe your information is up to date as of 2021, but now there are some new information that has emerged beyond 2021. So if your information is not up to date, then it means you are using an information that is not up to date, especially when you are dealing with information that is time dependent. Let's say, for example, somebody has an address. Now the person has an address, old address information. Now the person has moved from the old house to a new place. He has a new house address. So is the information up to date, or we are still having the old house information. So timeliness means that the information that we have is up to date and is not outdated. It is accurate as of now. That is very key. That's one of the quality of data that we need to ensure. The fifth one is uniqueness. Uniqueness. So that means there is no duplicate. There are some information that has to be unique. Let's say, for example, you are dealing with your customer. So in your customer database, the information of your customer has to be unique. Now, when you are dealing with maybe buying and selling table, the customer can buy different product, but the unique customers, the customer table cannot be duplicated. The customer ID, the customer's information has to be unique. It has to be unique. So that's why it's primary. It's a primary key that you set to ensure that that information is not duplicated. So uniqueness is a big thing, because you don't want to have two different information about the same person. Two different information, so you won't know which one is the right one, which one is not the right one. So uniqueness is very important, and that's why in any country you have maybe an ID that is unique to you. Nobody can have the same ID. Nobody can have the same ID. When you have your own passport, you have your passport that is unique to you. Nobody can have the same passport ID. So the reason is because we want uniqueness of those information, because those information are critical, so that whenever maybe somebody commit a crime or we are looking to track who did what, we can actually use maybe the ID or whatever to be able to track who did that. So uniqueness is very key. But if we have two information about one person that is not unique, then we'll be confused whether it's the right person or not. So uniqueness is another thing. The sixth one is validity. Validity. So that is, the data must be very valid. That is, the data is in the right format and it is of the right data type. It is in the right format and it's in the right data type. For example, if it is maybe things like dates, so you collect information about date of birth, for example. So in different places there are different formats that they use. Like maybe in America they start with maybe year, month and day. Now in another country they might start with day, month and year. And then maybe the way that they also structure the information is the date must be two numbers, hyphen. Then the month must be two letter, hyphen, and then the year is 4 digits. So it has to follow the same standard format. So you set a standard format that you want to use. So that is what validity is. So the information has to follow the same format across the board to ensure accuracy. If it doesn't follow the format, then you discover that you might have some error. For example, maybe about time. So time, you can use 12-hour time frame, so that means after 12 hours you go back to 1. But if you are using the 24 hours time frame, then it means that you can have time that goes to 14, 15, 16, 17. So validity is very key. It means that we follow the same format, we have a right format, and then the data fall within the range of that format that we use. So that's very key. There are a lot of other things like credibility, relevance. So for example, is the data really relevant to the business? Is the data really relevant? Because at the end of the day, the goal is for the data to add value to the business. So these are all kind of metrics that you can use when you are dealing with data quality. So how do you then determine the quality of your data? Now usually there is a way that organizations assess the quality of their data. So what they do is to set like a benchmark or standard of what is the data quality requirement, what is the quality that is required in their data. So it might be accuracy, validity and so on like that. You set the requirement for that metric. So it might be date of birth. So you set the metric for it, and then you now conduct an assessment of the data quality. So we want to check all the data that we have about people's date of birth. How correct are they? So for example, if we desire that at least before we can use the data, it must have 95% accuracy all the data that we have must be 95% correct. So we want to conduct an assessment to now say, okay, out of all the data that we have, how many of them really meet those requirements that we set? And then if we see that it's below the standard, what we do is to find a way to resolve that data quality issues, because until you reach that benchmark or standard that you set in your organization, then you cannot really trust and rely on that data for decision making. So when it meets that benchmark, maybe 90% or 95% accuracy, then you can now do it. So you can identify what is the root cause. Why did we have this date in the wrong format? It might be maybe because you are, when you are collecting the information from your website on the form, you don't put it there that is a necessary or compulsory information that people have to share, and so people can ignore it. Maybe you don't tell them that their date of birth is a requirement, then people can ignore it. So you have to go and fix those root cause issue, so that next time you are collecting the data, you are collecting it in an accurate format. Or if you don't even let them know the format that you want the date to be, they might use a different format than what you want. So these are root cause that you have to fix, and then after that you can check again to see whether the information is meeting the requirement that you set. So data quality assessment is a key thing. You set some rule to say, okay, this is the benchmark and this is the standard that we want, and then you can then check whether it meets those issues, and if it's not, then you have to fix it. So that's why people spend a lot of time to fix those information. Now, so who handles data quality issue? Who is responsible? So there is a role called data quality analyst. Data quality analyst. So that is the person that is primarily responsible for assessing the quality of the data. And usually they work with data scientists, they work with data analysts, they work with data custodians, business owner, data steward, different roles in the organization. They work together with them, but their own job is to assess the quality of the data. So it's a new role that comes in when data begin to become an important asset in the organization. Data quality analyst is the person that is responsible for assessing the quality of the data of the organization. Now, data scientists, data analysts also do that before they build model, before they do the analysis, but essentially there is usually a data quality analyst in every big organization before they actually use the data. So those are the things that I want to share with you today. So join me again by next week. I'll come with another informative session, and please feel free to like and share this video so that other people can benefit from it. So if you want to know more and getting into the data world, get in contact with us at Glomax Institute. Glomax Institute. Go to glomaxinstitute.com, and you can also register for our training. We have an upcoming training on AI, machine learning, data science, and data analytics, where we equip you to be ready for jobs in this highly demanding area. So thank you so much, and I look forward to have you again next week. Bye.